Good afternoon, folks. My name is Crane Hutson, and this is my presentation on the science of reading. According to Reader Come Home by Dr. Marianne Wolf, human beings were never born to read. This is seen in that 66% of fourth graders in America cannot read at their grade level. I believe that most would agree that reading is important to learning. However, there's been much debate about how reading should be taught and why it should be done in a certain manner. Recently, emphasis has been placed and research has been conducted on the best approach to helping students become better readers. This is known as the science of reading. The science of reading is the research that reading experts have conducted on how we learn to read. Decades have been spent on studying the best approach to teaching and learning to read. Teachers need to be well informed. They need to know who needs help in their class, what help do they actually need, and then finally, is the help that they're giving working? They also need to be well supported through first, time, second, resources, and third, ongoing professional development. There are four major theoretical models that are widely agreed upon by researchers to better understand the science of reading. These four are the simple view of reading, Scarborough's reading rope, the four-part mental processor, and Erie's phases of word-level reading. The first of the four is the simple view formula. It makes clear that strong reading comprehension cannot occur unless both decoding skills and language comprehension abilities are strong. In the formula, you can see that decoding multiplied by linguistic comprehension equals reading comprehension. This multiplication is done through either giving decoding and linguistic comprehension a score of a 0 through a 1 and any number in between. These can also be percentage based. If a score is a 0 or the lower percent, it means that the student is poor in that specific area. If it's a 1, it means they are perfect in that specific area. If a student would be poor at linguistic comprehension, they would be seen as a hyperlexic student, which is a student who has severe language comprehension issues and excellent decoding skills. If they're poor at decoding, however, they're seen as a dyslexic student who has the ability for linguistic comprehension but is really struggling with the decoding process. Another area that is perceived is weakness in both of these. All in all three typically require some sort of intervention and usually have and involve the response to intervention process. The second of the four is the Scarborough's reading rope. Students succeed when they receive intensive comprehension of high quality prevention and early intervention instruction. This instruction is usually systematic, explicit, multimodal, and intensive. A solid and good teacher will usually integrate oral language, phonemic and phonic fluency, vocab development, and reading comprehension skills. The reading rope is devised into a bottom and a top strand, which combined together make a skilled reader. The bottom, or the word recognition strand, and the top work together as the reader becomes more accurate, fluent, and increasingly automatic with repetition and practice. The language comprehension strand, or the upper strand, reinforces one another, and they weave together with the word recognition strand to produce a skilled reader. This kind of skill doesn't happen overnight. It usually requires a lot of practice. The third is the four-part processor concept. Although this is a simplification, it is useful because it, one, suggests the various ways in which reading problems might develop, and two, it explains why reading instruction should target several kinds of skills. It reminds us that instruction should aim to educate all the processing systems and enable them to work together. The four parts usually are actually seen in the brain. I don't have the graphic that describes and defines what areas they are, but all four are typically in the left side of the brain. The first that we're going to discuss is the phonological processor, and enables us to perceive, remember, and interpret The second is the orthographic processor, which receives visual input from printed words. It perceives and recognizes letters, punctuation marks. These processors are connected through phonics and phonic awareness. The third processor that we're going to discuss is the meaning processor. It recognizes words as meaningful entities, requires communication among the phonological processor, orthographic processor, and itself. The meaning processor is also called the semantic processor because it interprets the meanings of words in and out of context. The final processor is the context processor, and its primary job is to interact with and provide support for the meaning processor. The final one we're going to discuss is Aries phases of word level reading, and as seen in this graphic, they are the pre-alphabetic phase, partial alphabetic phase, full alphabetic phase, the consolidated alphabetic phase, and the automatic phase. These 5 phases typically also work in the development of a student. They typically go from one step to the other. Pre-alphabetic usually is dealing with somebody who reads cues. Partial is same sounds and spellings. Full alphabetic is the most common sounds and spellings. Once they get to consolidated and automatic, the student becomes a more affluent reader. Now, the what and why for phonological awareness. Phonological awareness is necessary. It includes the ability to notice the sound structure of spoken words and the ability to identify and isolate manipulative language. Additionally, phonological awareness skills include phoneme blending, segmentation, and are generally mastered by the end of 1st grade. The research shows that phonological awareness represents the most common source of word-level difficulties. It is also essential for skilled reading and for efficient sight word learning. Skill in this area can prevent and remediate students with reading difficulties. Lastly, it provides greater results in word-level reading skills. The second what and why we're going to discuss is phonics. Teaching phonics is important to building strong readers. It is a system for approaching reading which focuses on the relationship between letters and sounds. Teaching has to move to graphemes, syllables, and morphemes. Orthographic mapping it allows students to quickly and efficiently add words to sight vocabulary or sight words. Why do you teach phonics? The science shows that the code-based approach leads to increased scores on comprehension. By sending out words, readers are more accurate in identifying unfamiliar words. The area of the brain is also used for orthography, and it activates the area responsible for semantic systems. The use of phonics in teaching can prevent and remediate reading difficulty as well. Phonological awareness has proven to have greater results in word-level reading for kindergartners and 1st graders. Third that we're going to go over is fluency, which is the ability to read quickly and accurately with the proper expression, and it is known as fluency and is determined by the size of one's vocabulary. Increased fluency allows one to spend more attention comprehending the text as to understand what has been read. Students will be able to read 130 words per minute by the time they're in 6th grade. Last is vocabulary, and vocab is another factor to build strong readers. Vocab is the knowledge of the meaning of words. The ability to connect meaning to spelling patterns and words can be critical to expanding a student's vocabulary. Student vocabulary is linked to their economic background. Large gaps exist between 3-year-olds in wealthy families and poor families. Vocabulary is the glue that holds stories, ideas, and content together, so increasing vocabulary improves reading and leads to increased comprehension. Code emphasis versus meaning emphasis. Code emphasis requires students to learn specific code or letters, and meaning emphasis encourages the use of whole word reading. Next is orthographic mapping. Sedita provides a great explanation of orthographic mapping as a process that all successful readers use to become fluent readers. Through mapping, students use the oral language processing part of their brain to map the sounds of words they already know the letters to in a word. They then permanently store the connected sounds and letters as sight words. In conclusion, understanding the science of reading is pertinent to all levels of education. I teach high school, and while most high school students are fluent in English, I teach at a primarily English as a second language school. So the knowledge that I'm going to receive from this field will help me to better prepare myself to teach them. As you can see here, here's my references for this presentation. As we prepare to the best readers, as we must prepare students to be the best readers they can be, we must remember that strong readers have an easier time learning. As Dr. Seuss said, the more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Thank you.